So, got a meeting with VC. What are you gonna wear? Seriously, dress code? You kidding me? Got so much stuff to deal with, like growing a company with like no resources and having to beg investors for cash to make the hires you need to close. And seriously, now you're gonna think about fashion with VCs? Well, you're watching this video, aren't you? So clearly doing stupid things isn't on your to-do list, hopefully. But look, don't worry, we're gonna go through this in detail. And honestly, it's all kind of pretty simple. And if you wanna know how to not look stupid when you're pitching VCs by your parents, stick with me now and we'll get into it.
Ask Alex. Ask Alex. Because you don't know what you don't know. And if you don't know, now you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so overdress or underdress. If you have a meeting lined up with an investor, you're probably thinking about this in a binary fashion. Is it better to overdress or underdress? Well, that's not the right question, as it depends on your baseline. Mark Zuckerberg clearly has a view of a casual baseline, and that shields it won't fly if you're a financial enterprise dweeb. You wouldn't be caught dead in a hoodie on a sick day. But sure, okay? Over or under? Pick one. You're probably intuitively saying overdress rather than underdress, but that's actually not quite right. Overdressing can imply that you're desperate to impress the investors and you may be portraying someone who is not you. In that case, you come across as inauthentic, as you're not comfortable with yourself. Imagine like wearing a suit 2 sizes too small and holding your breath in, right? You're gonna come across as fucking weird. Underdressing to the point of ambivalence implies you're lazy and don't take the meeting seriously. Or the investor. You need to portray your business character in your dress code. It's imperative that you take that into consideration because you don't want to start engaging a potential investor with a full start. Now, underdressing. If your chat is quite normal, then you shouldn't underdress. Your appearance can actually compensate a little. A smooth but not super bright talker that is well dressed creates a mini reality distortion field. Yes, I'm basically saying you can bullshit your way to funding. I've seen it. My bet is the founders won't get anywhere, but you know, who knows? But let's be honest, you want to get your funding done by hook or crook, right? You really have the downside of looking like a hobo. So think about it. Have you ever heard of someone getting a job for looking fly? But I'm sure you can believe someone going to interview and getting nixed for wearing shorts. That makes sense, right? VCs just don't really care about how you're dressed. But if you look like you're too dumb to be aware, you look ignorant. Or that you don't care and you're making issues for yourself out of your own negligence. So shame on you. So Saranga something, really long name, he's a GP at Overdressing Capital, advises against what one might think are extremes, polar opposites, okay? There's a low bar, but you probably shouldn't wear shorts. In any given week, I see people in t-shirts to suits, but suits and a tie, they're pretty rare. Saranga's being a little polite, but he made the point I want you to internalize. Don't be ignorant, don't wear shorts, don't suit it and boot it, unless it makes sense to you. Overdressing? Underdressing is basically being ignorant, okay? Do you know what though? Overdressing? It's just weird. A VC might take kids, to a pantomime, but they don't want Dick Whittington playing the pipes in their boardroom. Can you imagine a breakfast at Tiffany's moment where the founder arrives in like a tiara, little black dress, and you're thinking like, what the fuck is going on here? Is there like a camera around? Yes, you can overdress. Wouldn't you wear a black tie to pitch, right? No, that's clearly an extreme. So don't be weird. It's not that hard. If you're a bit flamboyant, in a personality, your dress can reflect that. But can you imagine a back-end engineer in a Brioni suit explaining middle out compression? No, right? Be authentic. If you want a safe uniform, you can't go wrong with this. Khakis, shirt with collar, and normal brown shoes, with or without sweater. Dark jeans, white collared shirt, blue blazer, and normal black or brown shoes. But being authentic is always about being true to you. The truth is, Investors have expectations with whom they're meeting. Bill Reichart, who's an MD at Garage Technology Ventures, believes the best entrepreneurs strike a balance between the customer and the VC. A balance between the two means entrepreneurs find a look that gives them credibility. How would you dress if you're meeting with a group of customers? If you're building a VR game, you would probably have a cool t-shirt with your logo on it. If you're selling enterprise software, you'd probably have a sports coat, if not a suit. A young game developer wearing a suit is not at all credible, as is an old fart wearing a t-shirt and jeans, because it just looks painful to look at. Okay, there are some expectations depending on the category of your startup, potentially. If you're in social e-commerce, then jeans and shirt of your startup is like pretty normal. If you're in sports, then maybe a tight Under Armour shirt with khakis and a few muscles to boot. Fintech's normally a bit more banky, which means like a white button-down shirt and suit trousers. You can wear a jacket if you like, but only if it's sort of more cold, I guess, right? If you're in fashion, dress like you're going to GQ, right? If you're female, just stop short of that ballroom gown because that's weird, right? If you're in gaming security, non-ripped jeans and a tore t-shirt with maybe some pizza stains. If you're in healthcare, it's probably similar to bankers, but you might get away with a tie if you're a doctor. Again, it just needs to be authentic to you. If you're in VR AR, non-ripped jeans and a Reddit t-shirt, I think it also changes by your stage. The earlier you are, the more casual it's expected that you're going to be. You're busy, you're broke, and you need to get your shit together. Later stage companies imply you have more people and more time to like get dressed. Now, angel stage. What would you wear to meet a friend at a normal restaurant? It doesn't really matter, but don't wear anything you wouldn't be ashamed to be seen in by an ex-girlfriend, right? For example, Crocs. I actually like seeing founders in their startup branded t-shirts at this stage, seed stage. So at seed stage, which is kind of just an extension of the angel, you need to up your game just a little bit. All right. For little seed, sure, wear your startup t-shirt, but if you're raising like 5 million, then wear a collared shirt at least. Jeans, khakis, etc. Doesn't matter. Just not ripped jeans. Okay. At Series A, you want to take things up a little bit more seriously now, so investors take you seriously. And you're talking, typically bigger money, so why take the risk? At growth, you can actually do whatever you want as the investors are basically knocking on your door. But you can't go wrong with being formal. You may even have a CFO for an investment bank, so there you go, okay? The final interesting factor is age, like old, all right? If you're 40 plus, or at least you look old, dressing more formally is natural. Would you think it's weird for a 45-year-old to wear a casual suit? No, not really. It's probably very normal for you. Now, young. If you're in your late teens, early 20s, then one would expect you to be more casual. If you're a bit aristo with like a signet ring, then pairing dapper might be authentic to you. That's fine too. Suits are dangerous most of the time. When I was fundraising for an enterprise AI company, I always wore suits. We were signed to major investment banks, so we dressed to match the clients. I wore a suit pretty much every day. On the odd case, I would pop in over to see a CEO of an investment bank. Only if I was pretty sure I wouldn't have to have a meeting, I'd wear whatever I want. But it wasn't really worth the risk. Suits for client-facing execs was just what we did. Of course, the devs did whatever they wanted, even when they came to meetings with the clients. Clients only suspected it, right? So when it came to pitching VCs, I wore suits. No one really batted an eyelid. I was pitching super nerdy stuff and telling them about the millions banks would pay us. And I used to work in M&A, so I'm comfortable in a suit. It's normal to me. There was only one VC who laughed at me, but I'm friends with him. Like I am a lot of VCs, and he's my drinking buddy. So I just took off my jacket and told him to go fuck himself. I did feel a little embarrassed as I didn't really need to wear the jacket, but I like fancy pocket scarves and stuff, so any excuse will do. But how I dressed didn't matter at all. Traction, the pitch, that's all the stuff that matters. So why am I telling that story? It was congruent to the business we were engaged in. I was comfortable in a suit, and it didn't distract me from pitching. 80% of the time, I'm pitching to people I knew, so it didn't matter. I was just me reflecting myself in a startup, there's different dress code. I was authentic. But 99% of the time, this is not going to apply to you. If you're an ex-banker, maybe a bit introverted, older, working in fintech, no one's going to think it's strange that you wear a suit. No one. Do you know what? Like, a lot of fintech investors wear suits too. But most of the time, and for most investors, you're going to come across as a bit weird in a monkey suit. And some VCs just hate suits. Peter Thiel, you know who he is, has a hatred of suits. He said, maybe we'd still have avoided these bad investments if we had taken the time to evaluate each company's technology in detail. But the team insight, never invest in a tech CEO that wears a suit, got us to the truth a lot faster. Jeff Clavier, who's managing partner at Softtech, says, we want people to be themselves. An investment will potentially be for 5, 7, 10 years. The last thing I want us to have is someone show up in a suit and tie when it's really clear that they're not used to it. Peter is obviously Peter. Jeff's point is a bit more valid. You need to be authentic, comfortable. Finally, Mitchell Kurtzman, who's MD of San Francisco-based firm Hummer Winblad Venture Partners, said, entrepreneurs who present to us are often engineers by background. What they say is overwhelmingly more important than how they look. Don't come looking like you're dressed for the beach, and don't come looking like a fashion model. After you leave, you want us to be talking about your product, your team, your technology, your business plan, but not how you looked. I think that's a pretty good point, right? So safe bet, business casual. Ross McCammon, who's articles editor at GQ magazine, he says, a general rule of thumb for an appropriate dress when speaking with VCs seem to be business casual. You know, this is like a sample outfit which fits the profile, starting from the ground up. Black dress, shoes or boots, not sneakers, flip-flops or Crocs, nice pair of jeans or dress slacks, no rips, darker shades work better in his opinion, solid collar t-shirt or polo, it's like basically collared shirt with no tie, that would work as well, and a black casual sport coat. On my blog, you can actually see an image of what that kind of looks like visually. So there's a couple of categories here. One is forced casual. There are a few approaches to style more unfortunate than attempting through fashion to look more laid back than you actually are. And the perpetrators are so crucially unaware of their sins, they have no reference point other than the one that they've attempted to borrow from someone else. Their children, for instance. A few questions determine if you're forcing the casual. Are you wearing shorts even though you've never thought of yourself as a shorts kind of guy? You might be forcing the casual. Are you wearing eyeglasses that would look better on a German filmmaker? You might be forcing the casual. Is there a reference on your t-shirt that you're not familiar with? Gallagher, 8 is enough, a random summer camp in Wisconsin. You may be forcing the casual. Are you successful stand-up comedian Jeff Foxworthy? If so, thank you for the years of chuckles. Now, ambivalent casual. Zuckerbergian. Like a hoodie, a pair of shorts, a pair of flip-flops, all set against a worldview that somehow allows for being both wide-eyed and smirky. To pull this off, you have to be really good. Like, really good. Business casual. A now meaningless term left over from the 1980s. It involves pleated pants, wrinkle-free button-downs, and a bit of fence walking. That's not recommended. Now, 4. Unimpeachably casual, which is to say, appropriately casual, which allows for formal, which is ironic, which means now is the point of discussion when we must look to the Italians. There's this helpful concept in Italy called sprezzatura, which dictates that perfection comes from the slight imperfections. It's an old idea that was reintroduced into the world in 2006 by Esquire fashion director Nick Sullivan in the original Big Black Book, Esquire's biannual style manual. It allows for whimsy, messiness, flaws. Your tie is askew. Sprezzatura. That pocket square seems unnaturally bulbous. Sprezzatura. You're wearing a company logo golf shirt inside out. Sprezzatura, man. Sprezzatura promotes a sense of style that allows for comfort, individuality, even ambivalence. What the Italians are saying is, and this is a loose translation, give a shit, but only up to a point. Sprezzatura lets you look formal and casual at the same time. Another helpful thing Sullivan taught us, always cut, never pull. He's referring to the occasional stray string, but it's a useful metaphorical notion for business. Now, don't be weird, plus or minus 20%. The point of dressing appropriately is to not only convey that you have the wherewithal to make the simplest decisions, but also to keep the VCs focused on what's important, your product and your business. If there's any question about what you decide to wear at a pitch, this will ultimately distract the VCs, preventing them from being sold on your idea. New York VC Steve Brotman, who's co-founder of Greenhell SAVP, gave the Wall Street Journal an example of a very distracting clothing worn by an entrepreneur pitching him an internet startup during the dot-com era. According to his story, a woman dressed in a strange green outfit entered his office unannounced and offered up a business plan. "You lost me at hello," Brotman told her. The woman was selling a product with avocado in the name and was attempting to dress like an avocado. "I'm not about to do a deal with a lady who's dressed like an avocado," said Brotman. The lesson here, don't let your product influence how you dress. VCs don't employ gimmicks. Now, a mate of mine, Simon Menashe, who's a partner at London-based MMC Ventures, says, be credible, and that doesn't mean suit up. It means be sensible. I've turned down some people because they weren't wearing their product, although it wasn't the only factor. Jim Barksdale, he said, our dress code is, you must dress, which I think is actually pretty hilarious. While your appearance should not be distracting or influenced by gimmicky product promotion, if done right, you can use it to your advantage. Boulder's Andrew Hyde of Techstars suggests entrepreneurs use the 20% rule when deciding what to wear. You want to look 20% better or 20% worse than your actual position, he says. The key is to either look good enough to make them think that you're trendy or bad enough to make them think you're hungry. I would recommend going the safe route, but more confident entrepreneurs could use this tactic to their advantage. Hyde, who also co-founded a clothing line of humorous t-shirts for venture capitalists, said, whatever you do, don't wear a blue shirt, or they will think you're mocking them. Okay, most of my audience is guys, so I know that's kind of a little bit guy-orientated. I'm not a woman, I think, but I'll try and give you a couple of tips. So here's some tips for women. I would strive for casual to business casual. Right, definitely don't wear a suit. You'll be known as the uptight company that doesn't get the startup lifestyle. If your company sells high-end fashion, then you should probably dress nicer. If your company sells high-end fashion, then you should probably dress nicer. If your company is like a hardware tech company, stick to the more conservative, plain, nice, casual outfit style. Probably aim for the upper end of business casual. Plain top, skirt, nice jeans, closed toe, black high heels, a watch, earring studs. Don't wear any dangly earrings because they're just really distracting. Don't wear any jewelry that makes like clingy noises, like clingy, big bracelets. That's all I got. Okay. In conclusion, it's really not that complicated. If you wear a nice shirt, khakis, or whatever works for girls, just generally look basic, simple, professional dress. You can't really go wrong. Just don't be weird. Be true to the best you. And VCs care more what comes out of your mouth. Just don't be weird so that they're thinking about your dress or your the way you're appearing because you look like a weirdo. Okay, it's not going to work out well. Thanks, guys. I hope that was useful. If you like it, feel free to like, share, and all that good stuff. I appreciate you. Cheers.